So cool. How many are not from Colorado?
Creativity, strategic thinking, problem solving.
I'm here to present on how you can accelerate your career with SuperBadges. But first, I want to start with some thank yous. First, to the organizers of this event, so Britta, Alyssa, everybody else that has put this together. It's awesome to see how much this has grown. And it's cool to see people traveling for this event and talking about it online. I remember my first event in 2017. It was much smaller, so it's really cool to see this grow. Also want to thank. I don't want to do that. I want to thank all of the sponsors because I know that without them, we couldn't have this event. So we really appreciate all that they do. And finally, I want to thank all of you for being here, for making the Salesforce community the treasure that it is. You truly are my favorite part of my job and being involved in all of this. So thank you. And thank you for coming to learn about SuperBadges. Very passionate about this topic, and I will talk your ear off about it if you will let me. So let's start. Let's see how I'm going to talk your ear off. First, I should introduce myself. My name is Kelly Hamilton. I am a senior quality manager on the Trailhead content quality and engineering team, which is a lot of syllables. I am exactly 2 weeks into that role at Salesforce, so I'm brand new. I'm still figuring out what that job means, but we'll get there. Prior to that, I was on the SuperBadge team for a few years at Salesforce, so I will talk more about that shortly, but that is me, and that's why I'm here. So let's talk about SuperBadges. Today I want to tell you a little bit about my SuperBadge journey and why I love them so much from a personal perspective. I want to talk about the power of SuperBadges, why you should want to earn SuperBadges, and then how you can harness the power of SuperBadges. Those are my goals. And I want to leave some time for questions too, so we will aim for that. All right, first I should probably explain what SuperBadges are. I know many of you in here do know what SuperBadges are, but some may not, so I want to explain what that is. SuperBadges are credentials. Just like their better-known sibling, the exam-based certification, SuperBadges are built with a rigorous methodology, a consistent methodology, the same methodology that we start our certifications with. SuperBadges start with that same process. Like credentials, they will test your abilities to demonstrate your knowledge, right? Unlike certifications, they're hands-on and they are self-paced, and most importantly, they are free. You can take them on Trailhead at any time at your own leisure. So that's amazing. It makes them more accessible. SuperBadges also present real-world problems that don't accompany step-by-step instructions to complete to solve the problem, like the rest of Trailhead content does. So you have to step into that admin role, you have to put on your developer hat, whatever the role is, and you have to translate the business requirements into a viable solution. So it makes you really apply your knowledge. So we'll talk more about that later. Okay, as promised, I want to talk about my personal SuperBadge journey. I earned my first SuperBadge, as you can see, on June 22nd, 2018. I was about a year into my role at the University of Colorado. I was an end user. I used Salesforce to help plan events and market those events. That was the first time I'd ever heard of Salesforce, let alone used it. I was about 6 months into my learning on Trailhead, but I had also inherited some pretty complex reports and dashboards from my predecessor. So I was feeling really confident going into this one. I was like, I got this. I know some reports and dashboards. And boy, did that SuperBadge kick my butt. It really did. It was devastating. But after a series of starts and stops, I decided I was going to dedicate a whole day. I was like, I'm going to do nothing but the SuperBadge all day. And I looked that SuperBadge in the face, the screen, and I said, you will not defeat me, not today. And it took all day, it did, and it was very frustrating, but I will never forget that feeling of when I saw the confetti at the end, that final challenge. When I passed, I was like, oh my God, I did it. It was amazing. That SuperBadge forced me to dig deeper into some surface level knowledge, some skills that I only had at the surface level at that point. It also forced me to teach myself some new concepts that I wasn't familiar with. So all of that made me better at my job, which was a really great feeling. I tell you all of that not to relive the glory of that day. Well, maybe a little, because that was awesome. But I tell you it because that was a catalyst for my career. Truly, not exaggerating. It was a catalyst for me. it gave me the confidence for the first time in my Salesforce skills. For the first time, I looked at my imposter syndrome and I told it to take a hike. I was like, no, I know what I'm doing here. You know why? Because I did it. I had demonstrated those skills, and then I took those skills back to my job and applied them. So I continued to use them, and I still have those skills. I'm still like a reporting expert to this day for that reason. And that confidence has grown to the point where I'm standing in front of you today, able to talk on this topic. But I went on to earn 30 plus more SuperBadges, but I also went on to conquer more difficult challenges, like completing the Rad Women Code program, and my most recent accomplishment, becoming a certified application architect. Thank you. So as you can see, I feel very passionate about SuperBadges. It's personal for me. That's where it all started. This is where my love started. So you can probably imagine how excited I was when I landed a job on the SuperBadge team. I was like, heck yes, I will sign up for that. So I want to share this perspective because it was here where I learned how much goes into SuperBadges. It is a lot. There's a lot of care, there's a lot of passion, there's a lot of effort that goes into bringing these things to life, maintaining them, making them relevant for you all. So I was blown away by that, and I want to share a little bit about the SuperBadge development process. This is a gross oversimplification of what goes into this, but these are the things that I want to highlight. First of all, just like our certifications, SuperBadges start with these intense, multi-day focused workshops where we bring in experts from around the globe, internal to Salesforce and external, and we discuss, debate, rabbit hole. We decide all the knowledge, skills, and abilities that somebody should be able to demonstrate in the topic that we're building a credential on. And then we move on to work with another group of experts to translate the outcome of that workshop into hands-on challenges. So we decide what is the real-world scenario where somebody can apply that knowledge, or where somebody can demonstrate the skills, right? And then we also work with a bunch of testers to make sure that this content is polished, refined, it reflects real-world problems, and we will fix, update, polish until it's ready for prime time. I see a few people in the audience that I know have participated in some of my projects, so I'm gonna put you on the spot. I hope you don't mind. If you've ever contributed to a certification or a SuperBadge project, can you raise your hand? Yes, okay. So thank you. First of all, we cannot do what we do without you. But secondly, for everybody else in the room, I want to use that to show you that credentials, all credentials, including SuperBadges, are built for and largely by the community. So my job was to facilitate that process. I'm not the expert. I can't be the expert in all things Salesforce, right? It's impossible. But we lean on our community to build these credentials. So that's why they're super valuable, because you told us that they were. After we publish SuperBadges, they go, we continue to monitor them. We don't just publish them and leave them and hope that they survive. We continue to monitor them. So we take in Trailblazer feedback. We continue to test. We address bugs as they come in. We monitor the products that the SuperBadges are focused on, and we make sure that any product enhancements, retirements, major releases that happen 3 times a year, that our SuperBadges are still relevant and valuable in the landscape of all of that. Okay. So I've given you my personal and now my professional love for SuperBadges. But what I want to share next is perhaps my most pro SuperBadge argument, if you will. And that comes from my involvement in the community. So over the last several years, I've been lucky enough to serve as a mentor in several different programs. And I've seen the shift from what we call the accidental admin to what somebody, I think here, coined this, I swear, the rise of the intentional admin. So there's a lot of people that are intentionally starting their careers in Salesforce, and they need real, tangible skills. And SuperBadges, for the groups that I've worked with, like the University of Colorado Salesforce Student Group, shout out, they're over here. The Pathfinder program, and I've also worked with the Athlete Reskilling program in partnership with Team USA, which is really cool. But I've seen SuperBadges serve as both a credential, which is super valuable, but also that highly desirable and sometimes elusive hands-on experience. It's both, right? So we'll talk more about that. I just got my 5-minute warning, which is crazy. So I will speed through some of this, but I want to talk about the power of SuperBadges, and I want to highlight 3 different things for you. First, trust. You've heard this before, you'll hear it again. Trust is our #1 value at Salesforce, and I'm not one to toe the company line or use buzzwords unnecessarily. However, trust is foundational to what we do on the credential team. So we build SuperBadges with you in mind, and you can trust that what you're learning and what you're earning is valuable and valid. So that's super important. I also want to call out Bloom's taxonomy. Let's take a walk back to college super quick. Bloom's taxonomy is a hierarchical model of knowledge, and from bottom to top, it's different levels of understanding. So it starts from remembering or recalling or memorizing at the bottom, and it goes all the way to the top for create, where you can evaluate different patterns and ideas and products, and you can put them all together into something original because you understand it so thoroughly. The remember part is the least stable and the most likely to be lost or misapplied. But SuperBadges live in the apply, analyze, and even evaluate stages of knowledge. So you have to understand, you have to have a deep understanding of the topic that you're taking a SuperBadge on. The only way around that is cheating. So if you've earned a SuperBadge and you've done it the right way, then you know what you're talking about. So that's a really important thing to remember. Okay, and then I alluded to this when I was talking about mentoring in the community, but this is a unique intersection of both a credential and experience. So I told you we work with experts out in the ecosystem, and we may have changed the names of the companies and the personas that we talk about in these real world scenarios, but these are totally based on true stories, y'all. So These are real problems that people are using Salesforce to solve, and we know that because the community has told us. So again, you can be confident in the hands-on experience that you're getting here. Okay, I'm speeding. We're good? Okay, great. Awesome. So how can you harness your super skills with SuperBadges? Let's talk about this. I came up with a really corny but rhyming thing here. Learn, earn, discern. I'm pretty sure discern works there. I don't know. There's probably some people that will tear that apart. But anyways, first you got to start with learning, right? You can't apply knowledge if you don't have it. So use the resources you have available to you, whether it's Trailhead, community conferences like this, hands-on training, you name it. Get in a developer org, get your own experience that way. That's a great way to learn. So it has to start there. It has to start with learning, right? And there's lots of different ways to do that. And then, of course, earn. So I would check out the SuperBadge catalog. There's a lot these days, which is awesome. I would recommend checking out our new format, which is called SuperBadge Units. They take about an hour to complete versus our older format SuperBadges that take 6, 8, 10 hours to complete, which is a lot, and not everybody has that time. So check out SuperBadge Units. The older versions are still very valid, and we still maintain those, but I don't know. I don't have that spare time hanging around. Maybe you don't either. And then finally, use that to distinguish yourself. Make sure the world knows that you have these credentials. Just like you would a certification, when you complete a SuperBadge, that's an accomplishment. So tell people about it. How are you going to tell people about it? I'm so glad you asked. Let's look at some examples. Okay, first of all, your Trailblazer profile. This is what's connected to Trailhead. This is updated automatically. You don't have to do anything, right? Like you can modify your bio, like those sort of things, but anytime you earn a SuperBadge, it will show up here. So boom, done. Don't have to do it. What you do need to do is remember it's there, and remember to include the link to your profile on your resume, your application, your personal profile, whatever it is. Make sure people know to come here. And this is a great way to showcase all of your skills, everything you've learned, all of your credentials, it's all in one place. So don't forget that this is there for you. But we know that there's also other places to showcase your skills. So let's look at some other examples. First of all, share with your social networks, with your professional networks. So Twitter, LinkedIn, tell people when you've earned this SuperBadge. People will celebrate you, I promise, because they know if they've completed a SuperBadge, they know how difficult it is, and they know what an accomplishment it is. Okay, and then don't forget to put these on your LinkedIn profile. So put these in your licenses and certifications section. They belong there. They absolutely do belong there. I know it feels weird, but they belong there. I wouldn't put SuperBadge units, but I would put every specialist level SuperBadge that you earn in there that showcases your skills. So you can follow Lucy's example here, but there's plenty of other folks out in the ecosystem that have done the same thing, so you can look at folks for examples. And then I want to showcase another person that went above and beyond. And she said, hey, like I don't want it buried way down here in my licenses and certifications. I want it up at the top. So she made a custom banner. She calls it her billboard for her experience, which I love. And she puts her SuperBadges and her certifications up there, which is really cool. And look at that lovely Denver skyline. It's great. Leanne is somebody I wanted to highlight in particular. She had started, I think, a few months ago at the University of Colorado in Denver, and she used SuperBadges in her interview. So I have a quote from her, which is really cool. So this is how you can tie it all together. You're interviewing for a new job or your first job in the ecosystem. And here's what she said. SuperBadges gave me the confidence that I am proficient in those skills, and it also gave me challenges to talk about solving and building for. I couldn't have said that better myself. SuperBadges are real world, they're real challenges, and when you solve them, first of all, you're gonna feel good, but it's a great way to demonstrate to a potential employer, to your network, to other people that you'll be working with, that you truly do have these skills. So showcase them, tell people about it. You might have to tell people what a super badge is, depending on who you're interviewing for. You might have to explain the value of a super badge, but it's worth it. And if they understand it, they're gonna know that you have those skills. Okay, we're coming up at time. Now I realize this. Okay, so I think that's actually all I had. I'm bad at conclusions, so I wrote a poem. Roses are red. The Salesforce logo is blue. Super badges are the bee's knees. And Mile High Dreamin' is too. The end. Thank you. Okay, did you have a question? I think so. I'm happy to share otherwise if not. So yeah, happy to share. Yes. The older super badges. So what we've worked on is we migrated some of the older ones. So we started with process automation and security. We transformed them into that new format, super badge units, but they're all still there. So what you'll see on the super badge page in Trailhead, which is under credentials, is you'll see some of our old format ones, our legacy format, and they'll see the super badge units there too. So they're both there, and they'll both show up in your trailblazer.me profile. Oh, excuse me. Yeah, that's a good call out. Okay, so another way, there are supersets. Yes, supersets still exist. So supersets are groupings of super badges that relate to a role. So there's an admin superset, a developer superset, an app builder superset. Billing. I forget what the other ones are. So they group together super badges that you may want to combine as you're considering a different role. So those are still there. Some of them are a combination of both. So it has both. So yes, it translates. Yes. Sorry. Any other questions?